to Recollections May Vary, a royal recap. I'm Kinsey Schofield here with Kevin O'Sullivan. You watch us together on the Political Asylum with Kevin O'Sullivan on Talk's YouTube channel. All right, Kevin, we were blessed today with not one new Meghan Markle piece of content, but two, because not only did she release her final podcast episode of season 1 of Confessions of a Female Founder, but she did an interview with Fast Company magazine. I sent this to you. I don't know if you had time to look it over between probably vomiting in your mouth while reading it. But I will say, and I'd like your opinion on this, whoever is their publicist has a real skill for finding the needle in the haystack when it comes to journalists today willing to go along with their propaganda. Listen to this introduction, Kevin, and mentally prepare.
Okay.
This is how they introduce Meghan Markle. Meghan carries many titles these days, which I think is a slight at the British royal family. Meghan carries many titles these days. Besides being the Duchess of Sussex, she's a podcaster, a philanthropist, a children's book author, the star of a Netflix show, and the founder of a direct-to-consumer startup. But when I sit down to speak with her, she says she's recently taken on a new role, that of Tooth Fairy. Then Meghan goes on to say, I had a lot of business meetings the next morning, but I still chose to cuddle with him for the rest of the night about Archie. Thank you for voluntarily hugging your own child, you martyr. Okay, give me your first reaction to this this Fast Company interview.
Well, I read that article that you sent me with an increasing sense of horror. And it's so self-congratulatory, isn't it? And it's a bit like...
Is it everything?
Yeah, I mean, but, you know, I've got spinning so many plates, a podcaster, businesswoman, philanthropist, you name it, I'm doing it. And also, I'm the tooth fairy for my little boy and all that. Well, you're his mum. Or you're his mom, as they say in America. You're supposed to be his tooth fairy. Don't make such a thing of it. That's what mothers do. Most mothers don't go on the school run or bump into their friends and go, you'll never guess what I did last night. No, what did you do? I helped my son with his tooth fairy, with his tooth. I'm such a mum. I mean, come on. Really pukey, nauseating, over the top. This constant desire to depict herself as this sweet little mum just trying to bring up her kids on the West Coast there in their little Montecito house. You know, I mean, give it up. People don't buy this stuff. And when she does this kind of interview, this ludicrous over-polishing of her ego, of her halo, people see straight through it. They just go, you fraud. Oh, by the way, you're that mum that we found out only 2 weeks ago that you never told us before. You've got a full-time nanny, haven't you? So you're not exactly mum of the year, are you? I mean, it's so blatantly false and people don't buy it. So she ends up with this kind of interview scoring a massive own goal.
Yeah, so... this is just another example of Meghan making excuses through the media. And like you said, acting like she's the first person to ever give birth and start a business. Incredibly brave and courageous. Props. But one of the lines where I use the word propaganda, because listen to this paragraph. The easiest thing to do would have been to simply restock the As Ever products, which would likely sell out very quickly again. But instead, Meghan wants to take a step back, gather data from the launch, and figure out exactly what As Ever could be. She said she's planning to announce new products in the first quarter of 2026.
What?
There's something momentum. There is something called momentum. You don't spend all of 2025 building this hype to abandon, any sort of...
Kinsey, it's over. I told you. As Ever, I lasted like one day. As we discussed before, she falsely gave the impression that everybody was after buying this stuff by only releasing a very small number of products, very small amounts. So you create the illusion, the delusion, if you like, of demand. Everybody wants this and we've sold out in just 5 hours. Well, I think that there's no doubt that was the tactic they used. They did sell out very fast. Anybody trying to get hold of this stuff is going, you just can't get it. But you would have thought, well, once you've sold that initial round of products, you would put more on the market. Hang on, let's just, you just told me something that I hadn't realised. So let's just recap here. What was it now? A month ago, 6 weeks ago, she puts on sale her jam or her fruit spread, her honey, her cookie mix, and so on and so forth, the herbal tea and so on and so forth. She puts that on sale. A very small number of them get sold. And she now says nothing
and don't
else.
Forget, Kevin, don't forget, you're missing a major part of the story where she has to apologize and refund a significant amount of her audience because she didn't have the honey.
Yeah. So you're now telling me that she has no plans to sell any more products until next year, until the beginning of 26.
I want to read this for you word for word because I can't tell if she's bringing us new products or she's restocking. She says she's planning to announce new products in the first quarter of 2026. But said Meghan wants to take a step back, gather data from the launch, and figure out exactly what as ever could be. But keep in mind, you and I have been going back and forth about where's the restock? Listen, I mean, she is making excuses in this article. The easiest thing to do would have been to simply restock the products, which would likely sell out very quickly. The way that Harry and Meghan talk to us through these, hand-picked media outlets is kindergarten. They are trying to correct the narrative 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But there was another number that I wanted to put on your radar. This article says, in talking about how successful Meghan Markle's podcast is, more than 800,000 downloads since its April launch. I mean, I have almost 40 million listeners.
That's not very many, you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
Like 800,000 downloads since its April.
It's nothing. I told you, Kinsey.
But listen to this wording. There's interest in doing a second season of Confessions of a Female Founder, and many female founders have approached to be a guest on the series. But Meghan is now involved in such a wide range of products. She's sure to find some way to tell her story. I'm not getting a second season. Am I being cynical?
Look, yeah, as ever is over. You know, I told you before, I've tried some of the products. I got them sent over from Los Angeles. I had to send them to a friend of mine in LA. She sent it on here. By the time I tried the fruit spread, it had cost not $14, but about $150 because I had to package it, get it all sent over. So I've tried the jam, the spread. I've tried the cookies, the edible flowers. They're not horrible, but they're nothing. They're just very, very average. No one is going to spend $14 twice for that raspberry spread. No one is going to spend $14 twice for the cookie dough mix that I made. It's really difficult, by the way. I said at the time, this is not going to work as a business. And now we learn she's not going to even try to sell anything until the beginning of next year. As ever, not only will it not last forever, I think it's over right now. I said to you the other day, the next story about these two is going to be financial. They're living billionaires' lifestyles, flying around in private jets, living in this massive mansion. They got extremely high overheads. Where's the money coming from? He's got a bit of royal money, but not that much. She hasn't got two halfpennies to rub together. As ever, isn't going to make any money. How are they going to pay for their lifestyle? Let me tell you, I think there may be trouble ahead, in the words of the song, Kinsey.
All right, listen to this part of the article. In many ways, this is a pioneering partnership for Netflix. First of all, I'd be like, what? The article also talks about how Bridgerton has deals with great brands like Selkie, where you can have a Bridgerton-themed dress. I've seen Bridgerton-themed hair products from Kitsch. Meghan Markle interviewed the lead of Kitsch, or the the head of Kitsch on her podcast. So it's like, actually, I've seen much more interesting brand partnerships than as ever will ever be.
Yeah.
So this idea that this is a pioneering partnership, also that the headline of this Fast Company article, how Meghan built her pioneering partnership with Netflix. Well, some might say it's through her husband, and that was the Joan Rivers version of that would have been on her back. But I was trying to be classier than that. But how did she build this pioneer partnership? I mean, thankfully she married a prince, but it says along with Meghan, the Netflix team decided that it made sense for As Ever to exist on its own without any Netflix branding. This is why the line isn't called With Love Meghan like the show. The brand is in the same universe as the show, but it's not the same, Meghan says. You and I've had this conversation before. There's just no choreography when it comes to the chaos surrounding these two, no consistency. To try to justify As Ever having its own name, it was confusing to the consumer with Love Meghan coming out at the same time, American Riviera Orchard dying, Confessions of a Female Founder coming out at the same time. She's tooting her own horn here, and I just want to be like, but this decision didn't make any sense.
Well, I keep reading that Netflix are going to run a third series of With Love Meghan. Now, we know that the second series, which was filmed at the same time as they filmed the first, will be coming out in September. So that's in the can and will be screened. Basically, because they filmed it, they might as well put it on. The first series basically died a death. Its ratings globally were pretty minuscule, not at all impressive. Under normal circumstances, she wouldn't even got a second series, but they've already filmed it, so they might as well screen it. I'm now reading that Ted Sarandos is such a fan. He's, of course, the boss of Netflix. He's such a fan of Meghan that he wants a third series. I don't believe that. I don't believe there will be a third series of With Love Meghan. Just like I don't believe we will ever see As Ever products again. She's a flippity gibbet, as we say in Britain. She just concentrates on one project, gets bored with it by the time it's not even finished, moves on to the next, moves on to the next. She never sticks around to do anything properly. Always flitting from one project to the next project to the next, none of them successfully, none of them properly, and I don't see where any of this is heading. And let me tell you, in terms of my predictions, Confessions of a Female Founder, you said it's just coming to the end of series 1. Make that the end of the last series. It is series 1 and it is the only series. They cannot possibly recommission that. Nobody watched it, and I'll tell you why. It's because it was toweringly boring, massively tedious, and dropped out of the top 100 podcast charts very, very swiftly. God knows where it resides now, but I think it's, probably on about number 1,000 by now in the charts. It was hopeless, it was dull, it won't be coming back. So no Confessions of a Female Founder, no As Ever. There will not be a third series of With Love Meghan. What is this woman going to do with her life? Meanwhile, what is her husband going to do with his life? Those two, we know he's lost. He's lost in California, doesn't know what the hell he's doing, has got nothing to do. She's made herself busy, but to what avail? Why? All of her projects are failing. It's a blizzard of activity leading nowhere.
You made a really weird comment on the podcast today, talking to the Spanx founder, where she was talking about the differences in the way you feel about money as a female entrepreneur. And one of the things she said, I thought, ooh, I think that she really means that. And it was about how you can sometimes panic and feel like you never have enough money. And I was like, I think you might be. But I want to, you said flibbity gibbet. Listen to this quote by Meghan to the Fast Company, who lost all credibility as far as I'm concerned today when they released this article. Meghan says, if I had to write a resume, I don't know what I would call myself. I think it speaks.
I got a few ideas.
Homewrecker. I think it speaks to after many of us find ourselves in where none of us are one note, but I believe all the notes I am playing are part of the same song. Well, first of all, put the pipe down.
Yeah.
Because what that was some hippie stuff that it was too much for me. But it speaks to what you said, where she's all over the place. She gets bored. She moves on. She has another idea. The people she needs to help her, they don't want to collaborate with her anymore, so they move on. I mean, there's a real pattern here.
There is, and Tina Brown, the former editor of Vanity Fair, former close friend of Harry's mother, Princess Diana, of course, she said that's the problem. She said that basically Meghan's got two problems. One, all of her ideas are crap. They're bad ideas. And secondly, she never concentrates on any of them. She never does them properly. She launches some, I'll make my lifestyle site. Oh, look, I've made a TV series. I've made some podcasts. And then, you know, a week later, you say, how's it going with the podcast? Oh, that, no, I'm not doing that anymore. How's your lifestyle site? Oh, no, I moved on. She doesn't concentrate on anything. She never does anything proper. As Tina Brown said, why doesn't she launch something, an idea, a business, a brand, a TV show, and concentrate on it? Try to get it right. But she doesn't. She leaves it about 3 days, moves on to something else, makes another announcement. So she never stays in one place. She never does anything properly. And frankly, it's all going nowhere. It's all going nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. Very worrying, I think, for both of them, to be honest with you.
Well, they might tell you that they're trying to deal with this by appointing a new Timu royal court in Montecito. Yeah. You know, maybe that's what these 11 new incredibly white people, after Harry complained about unconscious bias, maybe that's what these new hires are supposed to do. The operation will run separately from Archewell, which to me tells me that the Sussex's Charity Foundation is not their priority, even though they told us they were stepping down as members of the British royal family to live a life of service. And what do you think might be coming when it comes to Prince Harry's alleged undisclosed commercial venture in the next few months? I'm saying it could be an alcohol brand. What do you think it could potentially be?
Second-hand car salesman. He's going to sell sort of old cars, something like that. I don't know. Is he going to sell pottery or glassware? God knows.
Do you think it could be something to do with travel? Because we'll talk about what he was doing in China, but maybe he's going to lean into this travel thing more.
It could be, but you know, it could be clothes or something like that, you know, revolving around the royal brand. But, you know, he's not exactly
stylish.
He's not exactly a fashion icon, is he? You know, chinos and a jacket. He's a typical chinless wonder Brit. Can't dress to save his life. So I don't imagine it'll be a clothing range. To be honest with you, whatever it is, it's Harry. It will fail. It will fail. I mean, the man has no talent at all, at anything. He's a dimwit, he's a half-wit. Now, maybe he'll get lots and lots of help around him, maybe it might work, but I doubt it, There's only one sort of person I can see in Montecito who's arguably stupider and less talented than Meghan, and that's her husband, Harry. And when you talk about this court, the Montecito court, now that is extraordinary. As you say, nothing to do with Archewell. Hitherto, most of their efforts have been wrapped around the Archewell Foundation. Now they're setting up what they say is a royal-style court with 11 white people who are apparently going to repolish Harry and Meghan's image, you know, and put them out there, make them the big stars they always wanted to be. Now, each one of these 11 people, I would say the lowest paid of all of them will be on, I don't know, $100,000. Some of them probably on $200,000. You're probably looking there at $1.5 million, maybe $2 million wage bill, salary bill. That's a lot of money. 11. What are, Kinsey, those 11 people, what are they going to do? What will be their job? What do you think that? How will they fill their day? You tell me, because I can't work out what these 11 people will be doing for the Duke and Duchess of Netflix. I can't work it out. What do you think?
Well, what I think is interesting about this article is they say that Harry is said to have been growing increasingly weary of the negative publicity he and Meghan have attracted and is keen to rehabilitate their reputations after several damaging blows, and their popularity in the polls just absolutely crumbling. And we know that Harry, to me, this is just a reminder of the Harry that used to be kind of infamous even before he married Meghan, the one that read articles about himself and would
when
complain.
When he was fun.
Yeah, when he was fun. He would read articles about himself and complain to the reporters. He would read the comment section. He had all sorts of, and I think he still does, burner accounts where he would read social media comments about himself. You have too much time on your hands if you are so hyper aware of all of this stuff. What will they do? It doesn't matter what they do, because you just quoted Tina Brown talking about Meghan all over the place. She also says she's had some really, really skilled advisors around her. And Meghan smiles, nods, and acts enthusiastic about the advice she's given, and turns around and does the exact opposite. So that if they continue along that pattern, this dream team won't matter at all. It won't matter. But I even feel like that Fast Company magazine was an example of somebody doing something right, because it was garbage. It was a joke.
Yeah, it was actually a bad PR job. It's not a good, it's because it's over the top. People sitting down saying, "Aren't I a great mother?" Well, as we discussed earlier, big deal. You helped your kid with the tooth fairy. Yeah, great, well done. Nobody really cares. That's not a particularly good operation. Now, the thing about Harry, and indeed Meghan for that matter, and these 11 people that they've hired, as I say, that's going to cost them probably the best part of $2 million a year in salaries, in wages. They may ask this question. Harry may say to them, I can't understand it. I've become so unpopular. I need to change that. Why am I unpopular? Well, I'll tell you why you're unpopular, Harry. It's all down to you. You did this to yourself. You are wildly unpopular now on both sides of the Atlantic, and so is your wife, because of the way both of you have behaved. You have behaved absolutely appallingly since you left the royal family, since you ran away to Canada and then America. You gave that vile interview to Oprah Winfrey, accusing the royal family falsely of being racists. You did your horrible Netflix series accusing all of Britain of being slave-driving racists. You wrote your horrible little books, that spiteful tome, Spare, really, really nasty. And then you did that interview 2-3 weeks ago with the BBC, throwing your toys out of the pram. Oh, my dad doesn't talk to me, and he's, conspiring with people in the government, and they all want me dead. Oh, shut up, you childish little fool. This is why everybody hates him. He's just thinking, it's the way they write about me, it's the press, it's the media. It's not. It's the way he has behaved, and it's the way Meghan has behaved, and it's the way they continue to behave. Unless they modify their behaviour, unless they stop behaving like a couple of prats, spoilt brats, which they do at the moment, unless they stop doing that, you can hire 100, 200 grand a year executives to change your image. It won't work.
Well, you mentioned their behavior, and you said unless they change it. There are some people that are going to be so unforgiving, no matter how. Meghan could save a child's life on the freeway by giving it CPR after an asthma attack, and people would be like, because it's a nice segue into our next story.
She would do that, Kinsey, but only if there was a camera crew there.
Exactly. Did you get my good side?
Before I save this kid, where are the cameras?
Yeah, get my cell phone out. Make sure you get this.
Yeah.
This is a nice segue into our next story, because we're getting new details about Meghan Markle's, it's kind of a tug of war with Vogue back in 2022. And these are such interesting details because if you look at the timeline where Meghan is having these negotiations and fighting with British Vogue and Anna Wintour in the States, the Queen is dying. We're finding out that, I don't know if you remember around that time, we kept hearing that the Queen was having to pull out of engagements because of mobility issues. We saw pictures of the Queen and Liz Truss, and the Queen looked incredibly frail. It was no secret to the world that the Queen wasn't at her best. She just lost her husband, which I imagine is also emotionally and mentally draining and devastating. And while all of this is going on, Meghan Markle is plotting her comeback. And she gets into an argument with Edward Enninful, who is the UK Vogue editor.
Then the editor of UK Vogue, yeah.
And it was the September issue, which is actually the biggest issue of the year, letting us know it's the thickest issue of the year. There's an entire documentary called The September Issue about how chaotic and stressful the September issue is, because there is so much excitement around Vogue's September. I think there's a Sex and the City episode about September's, Vogue issue. And Meghan not only wants to be on the cover of the UK version, which already has a cover girl, but she wants to be on the US version at the same time.
All the Vogues. I think she can thought she'd be on all the Vogues all over the world. And it's like, listen, darling, what you are is some two-bit cable actress who married a guy who's about 95th in line to the British throne, who nobody cares about anymore. So you are not front-page material. She apparently lobbied Edward Enninful, demanded to be on the cover of Vogue in Britain, and then Anna Wintour, the all-powerful Anna Wintour, the editor of the American version as well. And apparently Edward Enninful, a very sort of laid-back, easygoing kind of a guy, said, well, said to Anna Wintour, this woman's demanding to go on the cover and everything. And
she wants the photographer, the writer,
and she wants to name the photographer, the writer. She wants the copy approval. And Anna Wintour, you don't mess with Anna Wintour, basically kind of lost it. And she just said, right, that's it. We make the decisions here. Tell that woman she's not going on the front of any of our magazines. And so the whole project fell apart at the seams. But what a naive, underexperienced person Meghan is, to think that's how you deal with the press, that's how you deal with the media. You start telling important editors of massive magazines, demanding that you should be on the cover, demanding that you have copy approval, demanding that you have photo approval. You don't do that with Anna Wintour, and if you do, you'll find out that not only are you not on the cover, you're not in the magazine. So Meghan handled that with her characteristic epic lack of skill. What a disaster. And she didn't get into Vogue, and now she never will.
That's right. The source said, well, what's interesting is when this story was initially released, the story was that Meghan pulled the article because she was so frustrated that she couldn't be on. But according to this source, Anna was pissed off. Anna was like frustrated with all the micromanaging and just said, all right, that's it. She can't have the cover and we're not doing the story. So this says that Anna actually stripped it. But you know what? You say that Meghan bulldozes and doesn't get what she wants. But we have to keep in mind, she did get Variety. She did get the cut. And that was a part of this scheming period where she also
got the Hollywood Reporter and Vanity Fair, didn't she? Massive, great articles chronicling what a bully she is to her staff. So she did manage to get into Vanity Fair and Hollywood Reporter, so I'll give her that. But you can't tell editors what to do with their own publication. She's so naive. She's got so many ideas, so high above her station. She's like a two-bit little bit part actress who doesn't understand that Meryl Streep or Blake Lively or Angelina Jolie, these people don't go round dictating whether or not they're on the front of magazines. They don't go round.
Blake might.
Well, they can ask. You don't dictate. You don't dictate.
Yeah.
There's a way of doing this stuff. And Meghan Markle, she's never been there. She's trying to act like she's a superstar before she could even walk, and she screwed that up in spades. Another disaster for Ms. Markle, as I say.
It's like all of her PR, and we saw this in the Fast Company. All of her PR, it has no soul. Her entire objective is to get press to talk about how great her accomplishments, instead of going like, I want to sit down with you to talk to you about an important cause. All of her PR is built around, because this big spread that they were planning was around Meghan's keynote appearance at the One Young World Summit in Manchester. I'm sorry, but I'm not reading about that in Vogue. I don't care.
Yeah,
like and that was just her tooting her own horn, because People magazine wrote about it at the time. Meghan Markle has a full circle moment. It's all just ego. There's no meat. And does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And again, one of the problems in her dispute with Vogue was that she wanted to control the copy, and she wanted the copy to all be about her alleged charity work. Her philanthropy, you know,
Alleged.
it's like, you know, and I'm sure that Anna Wintour and Edward Enninful are going, what charity work, what philanthropy? I mean, that was the other point that Tina Brown made the other day. It's a very good point. These were the couple that we're going to change the world. We're going to do good work, a life of service. And as Tina Brown said, or as Tina Brown inquired, what good are these two people actually doing now? What is the good that they say they're doing? What is it that they're doing? They're not doing anything, are they? It's just all a sham and a sort of pretense that somehow or other they're the great charity philanthropists of all time. Well, it's just crap. It's just crap. And where's it heading? Where does she think this is heading? All this attempt to polish her image all the time. It's not getting her anywhere. The only press that people really remember about Meghan in the past year or so is the 8,000-word article in Vanity Fair listing bit by bit every single time she bullied a member of staff at Montecito, and also prior to that, similar article listing the complaints of about 12 former Montecito staff that she was a dreadful bully. These are the stories we remember. Now, if those stories weren't true, why didn't she sue?
Yeah, she's very litigious. We got to see that process throughout the Harry and Meghan docu-series on Netflix, which might be why Ted Sarandos is so smitten with her. Let's talk about Prince Harry briefly. This guy flew round trip almost 14,000 miles to make an appearance in Shanghai, China at the Envision 2025 Global Partner Conference, attending in his role as founder of Travelist, the sustainable travel initiative he launched in 2019. He delivered the keynote address, which I'd be curious to know if he was paid for, where he said climate change isn't just an environmental challenge while flying, you know, like I said.
What does he know about it? What does he know about? What does he know about anything? And by the way, how did he get to Shanghai? Was it on a planet-destroying jet? You know, either private or passenger. If it was a passenger jet, I bet he went first class. So he flies all the way from California to Shanghai. It's hard to imagine a journey that would do more damage to the environment than that, and then stands up moaning about climate change. What the hell does Harry know about climate change? He couldn't even spell climate change. It's embarrassing.
Well, it's one of those things where you're like, I think this could have been an email. I think this could have been a Zoom. Did you have to physically, did you have to physically be there? Because nothing he said, I actually put it through several plagiarism, like AI systems to see, because it's so generic sounding. Now is the moment for the industry to reaffirm its commitment to being a force for good. A force for good. I've seen it on a popsicle. Challenges will undoubtedly rise, but if there's one thing I've learned in my life, it's that meaningful change never comes easily.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, what? Who are you plagiarizing right now? Because this is everything Harry and Meghan says sounds like they are stuck in the tea towel aisle of a TK Maxx, TJ Maxx here in the States. Live, laugh,
That's
love.
about it. Yeah.
So generic, it's so vanilla, and it's just I mean, I'm sure Meghan helped him write that. It's so basic.
Yeah. As I say, he doesn't know anything about climate change. It's just a bandwagon to jump on. Let's all save the planet. Oh, by the way, just hopping on a plane to Shanghai. You can't fly from California to Shanghai, destroy the planet, and then sit down and say, climate change, it's so important. Well, obviously not very important to you, Harry. Otherwise, you'd have done this meeting by Zoom and not done so much ecological damage like you just did. So it's just, it's blatant, palpable hypocrisy, typical of him, typical of them. That's why the 11 people they've hired for the court of Montecito have got their work cut out to improve the image of this guy and indeed his wife. Those people, their image, both of their images are in the toilet, and it's going to be very difficult to get them out.
When you asked me what the 11 people were hired to do, I wish I would have been astute enough at the time to answer, make burner accounts and leave nice comments under articles about Harry and Meghan, because I do imagine that is a significant amount of their job description. But really quickly before I let you go, I like Robert Dobson. I really like Robert Dobson.
Yeah, sure.
But I did write something, I read something he wrote about Harry and Meghan that made me puke in my mouth. He claims that they are happier than they've ever been, and that they celebrated their anniversary at a spa in Arizona. Now, I'm from Arizona, so I spent a significant amount of time working in newsrooms in Arizona. So I've contacted like everybody I remember from newsrooms in Arizona. I can't get anyone to confirm this. Do you think that this could potentially be? What is your BS radar? What's your BS radar say about Harry and Meghan spending time at an Arizona spa for their anniversary? Because I cannot find anyone else that says this or proof of it.
I'll tell you why I think they're saying that. There's been a lot of talk because it's Memorial Day. That's a day when families often spend their time together. So you think it's Memorial Day. He's leaving Meghan at the kids and the kids in Montecito and flying to Shanghai. That is kind of weird. Now, in Meghan land, on Planet Meghan, Meghan will be going, oh, that doesn't make us look all cute, does it? It doesn't make us look like a loving family. So they come up with this idea, oh, yes, we intimately went to a private spa to celebrate our anniversary and all that. Well, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But I think it's strange that on Memorial Day he's on the other side of the planet. He's got form for this. They don't seem to spend that much time together. I think
Archie spent 2 birthdays without his dad. I mean, not to be a total hater, but Archie has spent 2 birthdays without his dad.
I don't know. I just can't work out. I think Harry, is literally desperately trying to work out how to fill his time. The reason he goes to Shanghai, because it makes it look as if he's doing something, important, a life of service.
Also, screw you for interrupting your father's huge trip to Canada.
Yeah,
it's just classic Harry and Meghan to divert attention from something that's incredibly significant. And the significance of the king being in Canada right now, with the conversations of, happening from Donald Trump, our president, which I've always thought was a joke, but the idea of him trying to acquire Canada, I think he's kidding. But they say that there's a pretty big significance there for the king and he's going through cancer treatment. He's sick, to hop on a plane and go to Canada for this. And then there's Harry in Shanghai. Everybody should stop traveling except for me.
Yeah. Well, indeed. And I think that the idea that the king is somehow going to prevent the annexation of Canada by Donald Trump's America, I mean, that's pretty far-fetched. I agree with you. I think it's unlikely that Canada will become the 51st state. It's quite a funny narrative. And of course over here, maybe in America as well, but the King's going over to Canada to remind Donald Trump that he can't have that country. I don't think Donald Trump will give a damn about that, but I think it's fairly unlikely that he'll take Canada over. But you're right about Harry. There's a convention in royal circles that when a member of the royal family, in this case the King, is on an official state visit, you don't overshadow them, you don't upstage them, you don't do your own publicity stunts. Well, Harry forgot about that a long time ago, so he's over in Shanghai trying to get the headlines while his dad's in Canada. The thing about Harry, though, is he's not really getting any headlines. There's a bit of interest, but you know, he's just this ginger guy flying around the world, and we can't quite work out why. So he's just this sad little guy who thinks he matters anymore, and he just doesn't. And ditto his wife.
Ooh, all right. Agree with us, disagree with us? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Kevin O'Sullivan, I look forward to seeing you again very soon. And what incredible commentary you provided for us today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.